Hello everyone, Farrell here from Board of It, and just want to talk to you about the kind of content we're going to be doing in the future, our views on doing Kickstarter previews or paid previews, and then we're also going to have a little B part where we're just going to give a few tips to anyone who's designing a game that, if you want to contact a content creator, not us specifically, but in general, hopefully, just some good advice and good practices to do while you contact those people about previewing your game, showing your game, or whatever that may be. So we go into the first part. We just want to start by saying that our channel is essentially, we don't make any money off this. We do it for 3 reasons. 1, as a nice little creative outlet. 2, as a way to connect with the community and make friends and kind of enjoy the hobby with other people. And this has been a really great success. And 3, we do it because we kind of do it as, a public service, because it's really great when we review a game and someone sees that video and they go and buy that game, and then they come back to us and they tell us how much they enjoyed playing it, or it's a new favorite game, or they're so happy they got it, because that's a really cool feeling. And we could have monetized this through YouTube a while back, and we haven't, because we want to keep it ad-free. And we're not really that interested in making money out of it at that moment. And this kind of leads into our content. And our content is, you probably know, these big, concise, succinct reviews of popular games or big, medium, heavy games. Essentially things that we really enjoy playing and that we're hoping you want to see a review of or see us talk about. And this will always be our main content. We're always going to be doing these reviews going forward. And we've actually got pretty much the next 6 or 7 lined up. So that's kind of cool. We're going to be talking about Cascadia, we're going to talk about Coffee Traders, maybe Undaunted, and so on. And when it comes to Kickstarter previews and things like that, we haven't really done them except for at the very beginning of our channel. And this was mainly because we didn't have a direction yet. We didn't really know what content we were doing. And when you're a very small channel, it's really cool that somebody wants you to show their stuff and wants you to talk about their stuff. And it was pretty exciting. And some of those previews we probably wouldn't do now. Some of them we would. But in the majority of the last year, we haven't really done any previews. And this is kind of 2 parts. And one part is that we generally don't get so many offers. And this is probably due to the fact that our channel isn't a Kickstarter preview channel. We're not in it to get free games. And you can see that from the content we put out. And in fact, Tally and I would much rather pay for a game ourselves and review it like we usually do and have that be a really great game than get a really average or derivative game for free that then we have to spend our time playing and do all this work to preview it or review it. And in the end, no one's very interested in it and we would have rather been playing something else. So that's kind of our stance. And the second reason we haven't done many previews or Kickstarter stuff or anything like this is because we actually are very selective. And this goes back to, we'd always rather play a better game that we would have to pay for than get a free game. Because when we get offered games, we really look at what they're about, what mechanics they have. Are they going to be interesting to us? Do we actually want to play them from the sounds of them? Do we think that it's going to be really easy to get it to the table? And a lot of them we've turned down. And recently we've had a few that we've been asked to preview and that we've actually found to be quite interesting. We've read the rules, we've looked at the mechanics or just other things. And we think that, hey, these are games that we want to play. So we are going to be doing some previews and they're definitely not going to be in place of our main reviews. And basically all this is an aid to say that we really want you to know that if we preview a game, it's not because we're getting it for free or we care about that. It is literally because we have looked at it and we thought that there was something about it that was interesting, or something about it that made us ourselves want to play it. And that is the case for actually these 3 games in front of me. And these we're going to be previewing in the future over the following month, I believe, with Lands of Galzia coming up next week. But it's just very important to us that, you know, our subscribers know that we're doing this because we are interested. And the thing is, we're going to preview these and we're going to show you how they play and what they look like. And we're going to also talk about what we think about them. And we are going to be honest, because again, we're not beholden to anyone. We make no money off this. We don't really care if we get given a free game or not. So we are going to tell you what we liked, what we didn't like, and what we would hope would be improved before the campaign ends or you get the game in your hands. So that is generally what we wanted to say. And then we can move on to part B, which is this little tips for anyone who wants to ask content creators to do anything with their games. And this is just because we get a lot of emails, and really a lot of times it's kind of just rude the way we're emailed. And I guess this goes back to, you do have a lot of content creators that are happy to get free games and kind of just be more about the Kickstarters and the previews and showing you what's on there, or, you know, receiving these games in exchange, previewing the games in exchange for getting them for free. And so the first tip I would say is that please just make it personal. Ask the reviewers or the content creators that you're asking to show your game. And then ask them specifically. You know, I don't mean that you have to say, hey, Tally and Farrell or whatever. I mean, like, even just say, hey, bored of it. Because the number of times we just get like, hi, check out our exciting new game. Like, you have the opportunity to get it in your hands in exchange for, you know, whatever. And it's just like, obviously, this generic boilerplate email they've sent to everyone. And instantly, if you can't even be bothered to know the name of our channel, it doesn't make a good impression. And, you know, and the second thing leading on from this is, if you're asking someone to do anything with your game, make sure you're asking that channel. And what I mean by this is, look at their content. Is your game a good fit? Because it's just a waste of everyone's time, and also a bit rude if what you're kind of unsolicitedly trying to get them to do, and this is work, like, you have to spend time playing these games and making this content. And if you can't be bothered to even look at the channel and see if your game would be a good fit or not, it comes off as rude as well. I mean, like, we've been offered stuff like games about teaching kids in grade school math, or Christian fundamentalist card games. And it's just like, if you'd ever looked at our channel, you would know that we're not going to be doing that. That's nothing to do with our content. And this isn't a be all and end all, right? Like, for example, we get offered a lot of kind of, you know, take that style card games or silly little card games. And obviously, reviewing like big, medium, heavy Euros or Ameritrash games, it's not a good fit. But it doesn't mean that we would never do it if we didn't think it was interesting. But it just makes it a lot harder. But just really try and find a content creator. Are they happy to kind of review anything? Well, then that's great. Contact them. But if you're asking someone and what they do is so far outside what you're trying to sell them, it's just not a good fit. It's just take the time to look at who you want to be previewing or reviewing your content or showing it. And then the third thing is, if you're asking someone, make sure to sell your game. Don't make them do the work, e.g. the content creator, to find out what this game is about. And this is actually a problem with a lot of kind of medium, heavyweight, war-y strategy games that go on Kickstarter that we've been asked to look at. And a lot of times they'll contact us and it'll be this, we've got a great game for you. This is an amazing opportunity for you. We've got a game, it's about war, And that's literally all the info they give you. And there's just nothing. And they're like, we need a review by August 7th, kind of thing. And there's just no info, you know, there's no rulebook attached. They haven't tried to engage with us in any way. And this is just something you should always, you know, first thing, say about the game, what kind of mechanics, themes it, and a few buzzwords, engine building, deck builder, you know, dudes on a map, whatever. And then definitely just say a bit about the game. What's the setting? What are you going to be doing turn to turn? Because there's nothing worse than just getting this email being like, hey, we want you to do all this work for us. And then we have to be, hey, well, okay, but how does it play? What does it do? Is there a rule book we can see? You know, because it's a lot of work if you're, at least in our case, because we do look into these things. We want to make sure that it's a game we want to play. So we're going to be reading the rule book. If there's one available, we're going to be looking at the mechanics. And if we're having to spend our time trying to egg this out of you before we can even make a decision, it's just not, you know, good sportsmanship. It'd just be a lot nicer just to try and sell your game a bit more. It's not, we're not sitting around waiting for this opportunity. And then the last thing is what I think is really the height of rudeness. And it's if you contact someone, like a content creator, maybe you've sent out, you know, 100 of the same emails. That's fine, because you obviously need people to say yes, and it's a way to make sure you get yeses. But if you email someone and they show an interest in your game and they're asking pertinent questions, do not then ghost them and never reply. Because there's been multiple times where people have sent us these emails we've been talking about the whole time. And then we show an interest and we ask about the game. Is there a rule book? Is there, you know, can you tell us a bit more? And then we get 1 or 2 emails in and then just completely ignore any future correspondence. And that's just really rude, because at some point, I mean, hopefully the channel is going to get bigger and bigger. And if in the future you come back to us or you're selling a game or whatever, we're going to remember that and we're going to bring it up. And so, yeah, that's just, you know, it's fine to say, look, we've got bigger reviewers or something like that, or we don't want to go with your channel anymore. That's totally fine. But don't just blank them out after you've unsolicitedly contacted a content creator and you know, got them involved with your project or your work. But yeah, so those are just some tips. You know, basically talk to the channel that you're talking to, even if you're just including the channel name. Ideally go a bit further and get their names, but that's fine. If not, secondly, you know, just definitely be polite and remember to look at what content that channel creates and is it a good fit for your game. Third, sell your game. Don't make them do the heavy lifting, because it's either going to annoy them or they're just not even going to bother looking at your game. And fourth, even if you decide to go a different route, don't just ignore them if they've shown an interest in your game that you've pitched to them. So that was just some tips. And also, obviously, before we talked about our kind of philosophy on doing previews. So in the future, you can look out for these previews, and thanks for listening.